Hola amigos, ¿cómo están todos ustedes? I hope everybody's doing well out there, wherever you are listening, whatever time it is, where you are. I hope it's going well for you. Well, this is episode 64, where we talked about some more past tense verbs. And let me just go ahead and tell you, you are going to get your practice in on this episode, because I want to start out by going over the verbs themselves. You know, those infinitive forms that still have the IRs or the ERs or whatever the case is. And I believe all these are IRs, but I want to go over those verbs first. And then we are going to go into the specific conjugations. And I have quite a few for you. So we're really going to get our practice in today. All right. So what I want to do first, as I said, I just want to go over those verbs themselves. Okay, so I'm going to ask you how to say the verb and just give you a second. And you just tell me what the verb itself is unchanged. The first one is to repeat. And that is repetir. And to prefer. And that's preferir. The next one is to sleep. And that's dormir. And then the next one is to have fun. And that's a reflexive verb, divertirse. And up next is to ask for or order. And that's pedir. And the last one is to dress oneself. And that is vestirse, that reflexive, the other reflexive we talked about on the episode on YouTube. All right, guys, now we're going to go into the specific conjugations. This is one of those episodes you might have to start over a few times and, just practice on it a few times until you feel really comfortable with it. But remember, I always say, the more you practice, the better you feel, the more solid you are, and the less you really have to think about it when you're using it in a conversation, which that's really our goal, is to be able to speak. All right. Now, guys, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I think I picked out about 30 of these. So let's get going. I'm going to say the specific pronoun and conjugation. You just spit it out in Spanish really fast, okay? All right, the first one up is he slept. And that's él durmió. Durmió. The next one is they asked for. And that's ellos pidieron. The next one is we got dressed. And that is nos vestimos. The next one, let's use the tú form of you and say you preferred. And that's tú preferiste. Now let's use the vosotros form of you, plural, and say you repeated. And that is vosotros repetisteis. Yeah, that's a mouthful. Okay, the next one is I got dressed. And that is me vestí. Up next, let's use the ustedes plural form of you and say you asked for. And that is ustedes pidieron. Pidieron. The next one is I repeated. And that is yo repetí. Up next, she had fun. And that's ella se divirtió. That one that changes stems in the middle there. Se divirtió. All right, up next is we slept. And that's nosotros dormimos. Now let's use the usted form of you and say you preferred. And that's usted prefirió. Usted prefirió. Up next, I had fun. And that's me divertí. The next one, let's use tú form of you and say you asked for. And that is tú pediste. Up next, we repeated. And that is nosotros repetimos. Now the ustedes form again. And let's say you preferred. And that's ustedes prefirieron. I asked for. And that is yo pedí. Now let's use the tú form of you and say you got dressed. And that's te vestiste. Up next, we asked for or ordered. And that's nosotros pedimos. Now let's use the ustedes form of you, plural, and say you slept. And that is ustedes durmieron. All right, and up next is I repeated. And that is yo repetí. Yo repetí. All right, guys, well, that was 20 in a row. And since we have so many in this practice, let's take a quick break. All right, my friends, mis amigos, let's jump back into our practice and do the last 10. Up next, let's use the tú form of you and say you had fun. And that's te divertiste. Up next, he got dressed. And that's él se vistió. And now they had a good time or had fun. And that's ellas se divirtieron. Up next, let's use the vosotros form and say you had fun. And that would be os divertisteis. Now, you could have also said vosotros os divertisteis if you wanted to. All right, now let's use the tú form of you and say you repeated. And that's tú repetiste. Up next, I preferred. And that's yo preferí. Now we preferred. And that's nosotros preferimos. And now she repeated. And that's ella repitió. All right, guys, 3 more. You can do it. The tú form of you, you slept. And that's tú dormiste. And now we had fun. And that's nos divertimos. And the last one is I slept. And that was yo dormí. Yo dormí. Guys, that was a really big practice. We did 30 in a row right there. Great job. Keep running these over and over until you feel really comfortable with them. And I bet you're just going to be using those in conversation all the time with no problems, sounding like a native speaker probably. And if you got a question for me, shoot me an email, DannyEvans3371@gmail.com. And I'm just enjoying hanging out with you here on the podcast and look forward to the next time we're together on episode 65. Wow, we're zooming through. But I do wish for you, wherever you are, paz y bendiciones, peace and blessings for you and your family and all your friends. Hope you're doing well, and I'll see you next time on the Language Tutor Spanish. Hasta pronto.